last year, we went through this really long health journey with my dad, and now he's fully better, and that's really great, and the Lord has really, truly healed him. However, as soon as we thought we were done with that, we entered another season where we have my mom who's struggling a little bit with her health. It's gotten maybe a little bit worse, in the past year or so, and that's been challenging to see that. Both my parents go through these trials and challenges. However, hearing the sermon series on trials and how, we are for God and his purposes, and we are not our own. And our purpose in our life, in this life, is to live a life that's lived for God, like the superiority of a life lived with God. So how can God be glorified in our trials and things like that? And they're difficult, definitely challenging, but I think in those seasons of waiting and for answers, there's proof of our faith. Because if we get everything we ask for immediately, then there is no area for us to display our faith in Christ. And all of these things I was meditating on in my quiet time, but then also I didn't know Pastor Brian was doing the series. So it all kind of came together, and it gave me a lot of peace and a lot of hope during the season of waiting, for healing for my mom. But also through my challenges, and after the discipleship conference, I started to reach out to a few of the girls in our youth group, and it was really great to be able to meet with them, but then to also share what I've been learning and how God is teaching me with them. And I could really relate to them, whatever I was struggling with. It was just kind of interesting how God works. Whatever God was speaking to me, it was helpful for me to disciple them, whatever they were going through. It just all related each and every day. Because two of the girls, we've been praying each and every single day, and they're in a season of waiting, for their marriage and career. And one of the girls is also waiting for answers for her mother too, who's going through a tough time. So I was like, why am I going through this? But it was a way to also relate to these girls, to also, come together in prayer and to uplift one another. And I was meditating on the word wait, and it talks about to hope for, to be earnest for, but it's also of binding together or twisting together. And so in the season of waiting for answers, in season for clarity and wisdom, we're, as we hope for, we're clinging to Christ in all of this, and in hopes that, he will, I guess to strengthen our, I'm getting a little confused here with what I'm saying, but I meant to say is, through the season of waiting, it seems kind of long, and it's not passive, but it's an active period where you're earnestly looking to Christ, seeking him, and kind of like how Pastor said, you have questions and things like this, but as you continue to seek Christ out, as you continue to know Christ in your life, those things become less significant. And I think Paul is a really great example of it, because we see Paul as a really strong man, but he also went through many different health struggles. And it says in 1 Corinthians, he's like, when I am weak, I am made strong. Because and through his weakness, he was still dependent fully on Christ and not of his own. And it was Christ's strength that allowed him to go about the work of God. So that's the little testimony I wanted to share of how God has been speaking to me and how he's giving me hope and peace in this season of my life, as well as extending that same message to those around me. Thank you.